Forget about how we feel about each other and remember one thing. We're family.
We are obsessed with Yellowstone, and we're not alone. Millions of viewers tune in every Sunday to watch John Dutton and company shake things up at the largest fictitious ranch in the United States. And even if you doubted that a modern-day ranching drama could reel you in, the Paramount Network juggernaut has clearly found a way. Maybe it's the breathtaking views of the Bitterroot Valley, Beth Dutton's take no prisoners attitude, or seeing Kevin Costner completely in his element, cowboy hat and all. But it will not be business as usual for our favorite Yellowstone actors, with many new guidelines and advice coming into place. In this video, we will take a look at some of the new rules and stipulations that cast and crew must undergo, including crazy new hygiene rules, a new definition to awkward sex scenes, and asking the Yellowstone cast to go above and beyond for their art. Allow us to show you 13 strict rules the actors on Yellowstone must follow. But before we get into the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you don't miss any of the new videos we post. Number 13. If you're a child actor, you must do school. This is a rule that a lot of people don't know exists, as it goes beyond a singular movie studio or brand. It's actually a law in most parts of the world. If you are a child star, you have a long-term commitment to make a movie or a TV show or series. You must do school in your downtime. Now, to be fair, it's not like you have to go and do school from 8 to 4 and then go right from that to filming. That's not how Hollywood works. However, what they do have is private tutors and teachers that will help you get through everything when you're not on set. And that's why a lot of these kids are smarter than you might expect, despite them not having a standard education. Number 12, strict content rules. You might think that given this largely takes place on a cattle ranch, that they would be a bit lax with some of the roles of the actors and such, because of this more laid back and chill nature, but you would be wrong. After all, this is CW, right? And that's where the catch comes in, because as you all may know, Yellowstone doesn't technically have the same filter as other movies and TV shows. They show blood, they swear, and they can drink and smoke all they want. However, smoking is prohibited and foul language is only used rarely. You might not think this is a restriction on the actors, but it is if they have to watch what they say, how they act, and more. 11. Social media posts. This one is a bit tricky because social media does fall under the banner of freedom of speech. So technically speaking, the studios can't go and say things like you can't post this and this and this and that, because that would be a violation of their rights, which would cause many more problems than they would solve. However, the studios do have the right to put into the Yellowstone actors' contracts that they can only post about certain things within the banner of freedom of speech without suffering consequences. The rule most definitely applies to the younger stars the most, who might want to post anything on Twitter or Facebook, Instagram, and more. And to that end, certain posts by them must have studio approval. It's not ideal for the actors, but when your job is technically on the line, would you want to risk getting fired over a tweet? We didn't think so. Number 10, no cell phones. The biggest rule on the Yellowstone set is that cell phones are not permitted. Who wants to be doing a scene and then all of a sudden somebody's cell phone on the set goes off and ruins the scene? That can't happen. The studio believes the actors are there to do something. They're really conjuring up something, and they can't have anything that they're trying to do be messed up by a cell phone. The Yellowstone director is enthusiastic about the movie making process, and his only demand is that it not be interrupted. In the modern world, where every person has a cell phone, asking an entire crew of actors to keep the phone away doesn't seem like an excessive demand. Number 9, secret actors. Speaking of secrets, actors are not the only ones kept in the dark when it comes to major Yellowstone information. So are the fans. And we're not talking about potential spoilers here. We're talking about the identity of actors cast in specific roles. As mentioned before, with the whole world now shrunk down and accessible via the smartphone in your pocket, secrecy is key to avoid major information being leaked to the public at large. Number 8, vetting. Keeping in line with a Secret Service-esque level of security and secrecy, or paranoia, depending on how you look at it, Yellowstone also subjects their potential cast to background checks. Apparently, they do background checks to make sure prospects aren't, among many things, monsters. Number 7, be prepared to drop everything to report to the set. If you're the type of person who hates being told to do something at the last minute, the Yellowstone set isn't the place for you. Many actors get offered jobs with little notice because of a sudden scheduling change, and they need to be prepared to drop everything and get to work. It's not for everyone. Number 6. Health checks are required before arriving on set. This one is probably the most obvious, but actors will have health checks before arriving on set to make sure they are good and healthy for filming. With the notable actors already coming down sick, including Tom Hanks, Yellowstone stars are in no way immune, and with them being an integral part of filmmaking, studios must make sure that their stars are healthy. But, like the rest of us, actors have lives outside of the studio, meaning that they can be susceptible to catching something outside the studio and after initial testing. While it's unlikely that the Yellowstone cast will be tested daily, as that would be a tricky process to implement, the possibilities of stars being regularly tested is highly possible. This, of course, would not just be limited to the actors, but the rest of the crew as well. But with the actors being the least expendable, they will be the ones most likely checked more often. It's highly unlikely that the Yellowstone actors will be thrilled about this, with testing being an uncomfortable and sometimes painful experience. Just like watching an Adam Sandler movie. Oh, sorry, cheap shot. Number 5. Bring your own props. The props and art department can often be overlooked, but they are an integral part of making a movie look and feel right. But with health warnings telling us not to touch things for long periods of time as they hold germs, this can cause issues for props. The uses of props are being actively discouraged, but sometimes they are important for the show. When a prop is required for a scene, Yellowstone actors will be encouraged to bring them themselves. Actors bringing their own props isn't entirely unheard of, with Brad Pitt bringing in his own toys for the movie Seven. But that could mean that the artistry of props and wardrobe could be heavily diminished. If a prop is essential for the show and the actor doesn't happen to have it on hand, then the actors will have to rigorously wash his or her hands before use, and then the crew will sanitize it directly afterwards, which is basically what my partner has to do every time I touch something after eating Cheetos. So, number 4, stay silent as much as possible. An actor's job is primarily to act, and a big part of that is through speech. Whether it be quick, witty dialogue, or searing monologues, the use of speech is usually vital for movies. But Yellowstone actors are actually told to talk less, as there are concerns that this will cause spit to spread more easily. All I can think about is that scene in Friends between Joey and Gary Oldman. In fact, the actors are being told to stay as silent as possible to prevent the spread of water droplets, which we imagine will be a particularly tricky thing to do. While actors like Ryan Gosling may thrive with less talking, this can only make the Yellowstone actor's job more difficult. Number 3, must stay 8 feet apart. As mentioned earlier, it's kind of hard for actors to perform while wearing a mask, but with spit flying, that means that they'll have to follow other social protocols. Performing rules suggest that Yellowstone actors will have to remain 8 feet apart from one another. No, we are not talking about a Cole Sprouse movie. Of course, there will be scenes that would require Yellowstone actors to be considerably closer, but for regular conversation, they will most likely have to remain 8 feet apart. It could also make it harder for the Yellowstone cast to riff off one another and react to their co-workers' performance. And with the power of VFX, now I am sure filmmakers will find a way around it and not just have to look like one of the actors' breath smells. Number 2, do your own makeup. One of the departments that gets closest to the cast is easily the makeup department, but as that will break social distancing protocols, Yellowstone actors are being asked to apply their own makeup, so aesthetic styles for characters may have to be scaled down significantly. This, again though, could allow Yellowstone actors to have some free reign. By doing their makeup themselves, it can really help the actor get into the headspace of the character. And number 1, filming will most likely be done on the green screen. With travel restrictions still in place, it means that actors won't be able to go and film on location, if that means international travel, meaning that they will likely perform in front of a green screen or just have the area recreated in the studio. It's unclear if any international filming will happen at all, or if a skeleton crew will be allowed access to a film on location, or if filming on a location will have to be delayed until restrictions have been removed. This could significantly cut into profits though. Yellowstone actors will just have to rely on filming in front of an image of a famous location, just like your colleagues Susan on a Zoom call. And that wraps up the video. Thanks for watching.